Good young man. Everybody from FedEx, his co-workers, all his skateboarding community, all the people who were in photography class with him. I mean, this was a good kid. His mother said the things that stood out to her about what was his focus in life, skateboarding, and we'll share with you video of how good of a skateboarder he was. Photography and computers, and most importantly, being a father. He loved his son. Everything he was trying to do was to better himself as a father for his 4-year-old son. And you're going to hear them talk about that. And so what we're going to talk about now is the video that we've just watched, and how his mother couldn't get through the first minute of it because, as Tyree said, what did I do? That was his question. What did I do? You ask, we can't get into so many details because the investigation is going, and to the activists, I want you all to know in the community that we will see what they did to Tyree. We will see what they did to Tyree. The prosecutors from DA Roy's office asked if we could be patient for 1 to 2 weeks. As they finished the video, also the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations and the FBI all said they promised 1 to 2 weeks. This video, all the video they got will be released. They just want to make sure that they can give this family what they want most, and that is justice. But what we can tell you about the video is it is appalling. It is deplorable. It is heinous. Turn around, what was your word? Violent? Violent. It is very troublesome on every level. Because you have to ask yourself, yet again, we're seeing evidence of what happens to black and brown people from simple traffic stops. Simple traffic stops. You should not be killed because of a simple traffic stop. And we have to say to America, however you would treat our white brothers and sisters when you have a traffic stop with them, well, treat us black and brown citizens the same way. And I mean, Miss Wells let them have it. I mean, she was passionate that you can't keep killing our young black people over traffic stops. And so we have to make sure that there's justice for Tyree, because we want to prevent this from ever happening again to anybody else in Memphis, Tennessee, in Shelby County, in the United States of America. We don't want next week to see another video of a black person losing their life because of a traffic violation. How many more? You know, we met with Mayor Strickland, and he offered his condolences and prayers to the family, and a promise of transparency. And probably more importantly, we met with Chief Davis, the police chief, a black woman, a black mother, who was very emotional when she talked with Miss Wells, right, Kareem?
Yes, sir.
She said, I'm not offering my response as a chief, I'm offering them as a mother who got black children.
That's right, that's what she said.
And so she had tears in her eyes, just like Miss Wells had tears in her eyes, and she said that she was not proud of what we were about to see on that video. She said she was proud of many things that law enforcement did in the community for trying to protect the community, serve the community. But in that video, she said she was not proud of what we were about to see. And what we saw, regrettably, it reminded us of Rodney King video. Regrettably. And unlike Rodney King, Tyree didn't survive. And so we are here to demand justice for Tyree. And I know the officers were African American officers. And I've already been getting the question about what is my response to that. And it is very simple. What I have come to learn from doing this civil rights work against excessive force policing is that it is not the race of the police officer that is the determinable factor of the amount of excessive force that would be exerted. It is the race of the citizen. And so we have to have accountability no matter who tramples on the constitutional rights of our citizens. And it is so regrettable that they didn't think of Tyree as their brother, because you want to believe that if you thought him as your brother, that you wouldn't have did this to Tyree. And so it is very heartfelt that we have to have this conversation to say that, no, it's about the citizens, the black and brown citizens who get dealt excessive force by police officers, whether they're black, white, or brown. And it has to stop. It has to stop. It has to stop. It has to stop. And so I feel her trembling next to me, and what we have promised Miss Robine Wells, who saw her baby boy, who lived with her, who went to work with his daddy every day at FedEx, who came home for lunch at 7 o'clock for their lunch break, because they worked second shift from 2 to 10:30. and she would have their meals prepared. And she is just so heartbroken every day, but especially at 7 o'clock when she's expecting her husband and her son to come through that door on their lunch break. But only her husband comes, and she is still waiting for her son to come through that door. It is devastating on every level. So, as I bring Attorney Romanucci to address you, please continue to keep this family in your prayers, especially this broken-hearted mother who she just cannot understand why my baby. Now you're here for my great co-counsel, great lawyer, Attorney Tony Romanucci.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As Ben said, my name is Antonio Romanucci. I work with Ben Crum. There's nobody better in this country to talk about the cause, the state of what happens to young brown black men when they have confrontations with police. Let me say this about Tyree, about what we saw in that video. We're here not to talk about what a great boy he was and what a good son he was to his mother. But let me tell you what he was in that video. He was defenseless the entire time. He was a human pinata for those police officers. It was an unadulterated, unabashed, non-stop beating of this young boy for 3 minutes. That is what we saw in that video. Ben told you what we saw. Not only was it violent, it was savage. Why? Where was the proportionality that is required in order for those officers to use that type of force against a defenseless young man? And where did he want to go? He wanted to go home. He was trying to run home because he knew that's where he could be safe with his mother. He wanted to be safe, but he couldn't be from the police officers who somehow, this is what we know, I think anticipated the violence when they initially made the traffic stop. And that's because we know these officers, at least some of them, were from the organized crime unit. They were in unmarked cars. Why are they conducting traffic stops? You get it. You get it. This is pretextual. This is a pretextual traffic stop, which, let's call it what it is. It's a racist traffic stop is what it is. The proportionality was gone. These police officers felt, in their mind, they knew they could get away with this sort of violence. Why? Because there's a sense of impunity, there's a sense of culture within the police department, not only here but across the country, that they will hide for themselves, they will cover up for themselves. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry I did this. I covered up my paper on the Holy Bible, but we are here today to say to you, so help me God, when is this going to stop? We must stop this, and we must stop it through the actions of Ben. We must stop it through the courage of the parents. We must stop it through the courage that we take to the courts. There are many, many ways to do this. We must stop this. I'm going to repeat it because it was so important. We had a meeting today with the district attorney and the federal government. And we left that meeting, I think, very confidently saying that we're encouraged that they're going to do the right thing. And we trust that. And let's trust that. So let's please exercise patience until that video comes out. And then you may be able to look and you can be your own judge of what we are saying today, whether it bears any truth. And there is no doubt that your voices should be heard. You should be heard. It would be shameful if you're not heard. Because, oh my gosh, that's part of the Constitution, right? First Amendment right, Fourth Amendment rights. We are to be free from unlawful use of force. We are to be free from excessive use of force. Where was this young man's constitutional right to act at? Well, we're not going to stop our rights from being heard about what happened to Tyre. So I'd like to close. I know okay, well, I could talk a lot more about what we're going to do. But we are conducting our own civil investigation. We are going to move forward very soon as we can, with litigation. This is a Section 1983 case. And we are going to do whatever we can to ensure that this doesn't happen again. What happened to Tyree should be the end. Not only are we looking for justice, but we're looking for changes. We have to demand policy changes. So I thank you, Ben, family. Thank you for putting the trust in us. We will serve you.
Thank you so much, Attorney Ramanucci, for your advocacy. We all got to be advocates. We all have to be advocates. We don't know. I can't even fathom what's going through their head. I hear from officers and adrenaline and stuff, but at some point, it becomes about humanity. Just humanity for your fellow human being. And so, I just think about when he said, I'm just trying to go home. At what point does the humanity come in and say, this doesn't seem to be a bad person? I mean, I just want to go home. And then, I don't know if this makes Miss Robin feel any better, but the last words on the video, he's only about 80 to 100 yards from his house, and he calls for his mom 3 times. Mom. He's called for his mom. And so, where's the humanity? Where's the humanity? We're going to hear from a great civil rights leader right here in your midst before we bring the family up. He fights for the humanity of all of us here in Shelby County, and he's fighting with us for Tyree's humanity. Attorney Van Turner, President of the NAACP.
It's with a heavy heart that we are back here again. The last time you were here, Attorney Crump, another innocent young man had lost his life, and he was cut down, Alvin Mountain. And if y'all recall that case, we were here together, lamenting about what had occurred to him and promising that we wouldn't allow anything like that to occur again. Yet here we are. And so the question becomes, why does this keep happening over and over and over again? And what can we do as a community to stop this from occurring? I want to acknowledge again the heads of this house, Bishop Marvin Thomas. Y'all give him a hand. He's the National Board Member. I want to acknowledge Pastor Kenneth Thomas. He's actually the presiding leader of this church. Y'all give him a hand. I want to also acknowledge my NAAC peers, because we are here with you. Oftentimes they ask, what has NAACP done lately? I think we've done a lot lately, and if you are with NAACP chapter, please stand. Wave your hands, NAACP, please stand and let us know you're here. We appreciate you all for being here. Thank you so much. And I want to acknowledge the elected leaders here. I'm no longer an elected official, but I think it means something because we're angry. And we're angry at the government. And the question that you have for the elected leaders is, why can't we stop it? What are you doing to stop it? I've been there. I've been on both sides of that. So we want to acknowledge and thank the elected leaders who are here. And we appreciate them for standing here. So we have City Council Chair Martavius Jones. Thank you for being here. We have City Councilman J.D. Smiler. Thank you for being here, sir. We have our State Leader, Mary Campbell. Thank you for being here, Representative Campbell. We have Senator London Lamar. Wade London, thank you for being here with us. We have Representative G.A. Hardaway. Thank you for being here with us today. We thank our elected leaders for being here and standing with the community. Reverend Earl Fisher. It's not us against them. These people, these elected officials are from these same communities, and they have to go back home and live in these same communities, and they want to answer too. I thank Tony Armstrong for being here. Y'all give him a hand. Y'all know who he is. He's the former police director. He knows better than all of us what should have occurred that night. And he feels the pain of this family, I'm quite sure. In the Bible, it says, to let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. We're here to protect justice. We're here to support this family. We're here to show this family that Tyre Nichols' death would not be in vain. We're here to make sure that we're not here a year later, because we were here last year for this very same thing. We want to make sure that we're not here a year later asking the question, why now? Why this young man who was simply trying to make it home, who called out for his mother 3 times, but nothing could be done to spare his life that evening. There are policies in place. We need to promote those policies. Aid can't wait. How many of y'all remember that? We fought like hell, excuse me, Pastor. We fought like hell for Aid can't wait. After George Floyd, we fought like it. We fought for what? Those are the 8 policies that law enforcement was supposed to utilize when they were interacting with the community. Banning chokeholds, de-escalation, rendering aid when you need to do so. And do we see that any of that occurred? So we have to put forth Aid can't wait and make sure it is a policy that is followed. We have to make sure that when we say no chokeholds, when we say render aid, when we say de-escalation, it has to be followed. It has to be followed. So on behalf of the NAACP, Mr. Pearson, on behalf of the NAACP, we just want to let this family know that we're here, we're with you. We've been around since 1909 and we ain't going nowhere now. We're going to continue to fight for this family. We want to continue to stand for this family. We want to continue to stand with Black Lives Matter, Mr. Dowdy and the crew. We're going to continue to stand with all those who are fighting for righteousness and fighting to make sure that justice continues to roll down. I want to also thank finally Josh Strickler here with Just City. Y'all give him a hand. He gave us support coming forward. And I want to thank Cardell Oral, who's also with a number of advocacy groups fighting. Y'all give Cardell a hand for fighting for us as well. I'd like to do this, and Ben Crumpet's going to do this too, but let's just say his name. We want to know And we want to let this family know that we love Tyree, we support Tyree, and we're going to call his name because we can't forget. Y'all say it with Tyree? Tyree Nichols. Tyree Nichols. Tyree Nichols. May we rest in power. Let's keep fighting. Thank you very much.
So, thank you so much, President Turner. Now you will hear from Tyree's parents. First you will hear from his father, Rodney Wells. And they're going to try to get to the best they can. You will see what they did to Tyree. They saw it today. And when people want to try to act out, just know in a very short order, we will see what they did to Tyree. If anybody start saying things, instigating things, tell them. Now, Attorney Clark said, we will see what they did to Tyree. Y'all, we will see what they did to Tyree. 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 And so his father, Mr. Rodney Wells, is going to talk to you a little bit about what he saw. And so y'all pray for him and give him a big round of applause as he tries to hold this clean up.
Hello everybody, my name is Rodney Wells. I was Tyree's stepfather, but you can take the step out of it because that was my son. Before I start, I would like to say that on behalf of my family, that if there are any protests, we would like them to be peaceful. We don't need no shooting or murder, because that's not what Tyree wanted, and that's not going to bring him back. What I saw on the video today was horrific. No father, mother should have to witness what I saw today. But Tyree was a good kid. We worked together. He was very, very beloved at my job. Everybody, they are calling me with blessings, prayers, showing sympathy for what happened. It's really hard to get up here and speak to you guys today, especially after viewing what I viewed. I gotta stay strong for my family, for my wife especially. That was her youngest baby. He meant the world to her. You know, and what made it even harder was he came along a little bit later than the other three. His sister, she was 12 when he was born. So that was her baby. That wasn't mama's baby, that was her baby. Wherever she went, he went. And of all the siblings, I think she took it the hardest. So, Tyree was just a good kid, man. He loved more than anything besides what they just mentioned is watching the sunset. Every day at lunch, if he didn't come home for lunch, he was at Shelby Farms watching the sunset, taking pictures. That was his passion. And I had just told him recently, I said, son, you got to put that skateboard down, you're getting too old.
No.
You have a full-time job now. You You have to come to work every day. And he looked at me like, you're right. Because that was his passion. That's what he liked to do. But I really don't have anything else to say. All I know is my son was a great, great kid. He didn't deserve what he got. Now what he deserves is justice. Family and the attorneys that we have will not stop until we get justice.
That's right.
And as I said from day one, justice for us is murder one. So, anything short of that, we will not accept. So, that's our goal, and I thank you guys for listening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ward. Justice for Tyree. Justice for Tyree. Justice for Tyree. And even when the cameras are gone and everybody's gone, we want y'all to continue to say it so Ms. Rovan won't think she's by herself. You gotta stay with her. Next time it might be you. And so we all got to stand together so it's nobody else who gets killed like Tyree. Say no more. No more. No more. No more. No more. Justice for Tyree. Y'all please give a big round of applause for a mother who is down front of her son.
And I'm Tyree's mother.
Take your time.
My son, I know everybody say mother say they had a good son, everybody's son is good. But my son, he actually was a good boy. My son, he liked to skateboard. You know, I'm gonna tell you what my son did every day. He would get up every morning at 8:30. He'd go to Starbucks at Saddle Creek. If it's during the week, he'd be home by 11. He'd take him a little nap before he goes to work. Like you heard, he worked at FedEx and they worked the second shift. He would go to work. They would come home at 7 every day. I would have dinner cooked because that was their lunch. And they would go back. On a Saturday, my son would wake up, go to Starbucks. He'd go to Shelby Farms because he liked to skateboard. That was his passion. He's been skating since he was 6 years old. And very good. He would come home. He would hang out at the house. That day, when he left around 3 o'clock, he noticed that I was pulling some chicken out. He said, "Mama, you cooking chicken tonight?" I said, "Yes." He said, "How are you cooking it?" And I said, "I was going to sesame seed, put sesame seed." He loved that. He was on his way to Shelby Farms because my son every night wanted to go and look at the sunset. That was his passion, going to Shelby Farms to watch the sunset and take pictures. On Sunday, he would get up, he would clean his room, and he would wash his clothes for the week ahead. Does that sound like somebody that the police is trying to say did all these bad things? No. My son, nobody's perfect, okay? Nobody. But he was damn near. Okay? My son, he came here right before the pandemic. He got stuck here because, you know, we shut the world down. But he was okay with it because you know why? He was with his mother. My son loved me to death. And I know that was a bad word, but that's how he felt. He had my name tattooed on his arm, and made me proud because most kids don't put their mom's name. But he did. My son was a beautiful soul, and he touched everyone. He only worked at FedEx for maybe 9 months, but you should see all the outpour and love and support. And it's just so hard to even fathom all of this because it's not even real to me right now. I don't have any feelings right now. I don't even know I don't know anything right now. All I know is my son, Tyree, is not here with me anymore. He will never walk through that door again. He will never come in and say, "Hello, parents," because that's what he would never hear that again. All my son was trying to do was get home. That's all he tried to do, was come home. He was 2 minutes from the house when they stopped him. He was less than 80 yards away when they murdered him. Yes, I said murdered. Because when I walked into that hospital room, my son was already dead. The hospitals, they kept him alive, or they put him on the breathing machine just for my satisfaction, I guess. But my son died on January 7th. The doctors pulled the plug on January 10th. You know, last Monday was Martin Luther King Day. But it was also my mother's birthday. And for her to have to come here and come to a memorial for her grandson, I couldn't bear watching my mother go through that. Today, January 23rd, is his sister's birthday. And now she has to bear all of this. I don't know what else to say. I know I'm her mother. No mother, I don't care what color, black, white, pink, purple, should go through this. I have always raised my children to love everyone until they give you a reason not to. Have my grandkids is other races. We don't discriminate against no race, none. And for this, you know, I hate the fact that us as black people, we're out here killing each other.
That's right.
For what? I don't know why.
Come on, Mom.
We have the police killing us.
That's right.
I don't know why. I just don't understand why we have to have all this violence and everybody have to kill each other. I mean, what happened to this world? Everybody want to kill each other. Nobody don't want to talk to each other anymore. What happened to the humanity and kindness?
That's right.
What happened to it all? everybody to thank you guys for coming. And we're going to get justice for my son Tyree, if that's the last breath I take.
That's right. Justice for Tyree. And y'all, if you could have felt her shaking, and me and Mr. Wells literally holding her from falling back, she bared her heart because Tyree was her heart. And so, before we take questions, I think what she was saying is, why can't we de-escalate when it's black citizens? I mean, when you watch that video, you're going to ask yourself that, where was the de-escalation? Where was the de-escalation? Tyree said, what did I do? He wasn't escalating. You got to ask, when it's white citizens, we de-escalate, but we don't seem to de-escalate when it's black citizens and brown citizens. We got to have equal justice, equal policing. If we don't, we're going to continue to see this happen over and over again. So, thank you so much, Ms. Wells and Mr. Wells. And I'll make sure Ms. Wells says she not just saying her son was a good skateboarder, she gonna show y'all. Press at BenCrump.com. She wants everybody to see him skateboarding, doing what he did and love to do. And also, Tony, you say you're a photographer. Tyre gonna show you about photography. We're gonna show you some of his pictures of sunsets with him. Because it mattered, and he mattered. So,
and I like to show what I'm saying. I just want to clear up a bit in case anybody says something about it. Our son ran because he was scared for his life. He did not run because he was trying to do it, no drugs, no guns, no any of that. He ran because he was scared for his life. And when you see the video, you will see why he was scared for his life. Okay? So I just wanted to share that in case anybody try to throw that out there, why did he run? Because we've heard that on social media. He ran because he was scared for his life and was trying to get home to his mother and father. It's the only reason.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tyree had Crohn's disease, and as a result of Crohn's disease, you have significant weight loss. Tyree weighed 140 pounds. And how tall was he? 6'3", 145 pounds. How much? We'll take your questions. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I know we haven't seen the surveillance video yet, but is there an explanation as to why it took 5 officers for one person who weighed less than 150 pounds?
Attorney Robert Nugent, Kareem Ali, and that's what we kept asking ourselves. Mr. Wells kept saying, why? Why do they have to do all of this? You all are going to have to watch that video and judge for yourselves. Why did they feel they had to do all of this for a young man who weighed, as his dad said, $150 soaking wet? And all of them were clearly bigger than him, they outweighed him, why did they feel they had to use this kind of force? We just don't know.
Was this,
Which one? Let's not let the lady first and then you, sir.
was the video that was viewed, was that body cam video or?
It was video, so that's all we know is video. Yes, ma'am. And there's some audio to the video as well.
Are you aware that today EMT officers with the fire department were suspended for their lack of doing what they were supposed to do at the scene and covering it?
No, we were not aware of that.
A whole ship was suspended this morning out of Fire Station 55.
Well, thank you for sharing it. I know Ms. Wells and Mr. Wells want there to be accountability for everything that happened on that video. And thank God they had video. Thank God they had video. Thank you so much for that. And my response and our legal team responses simply, right is right and wrong is wrong. And when you watch that video, you will see people if they did right, people if they did wrong. And we have to have equal justice. It doesn't matter if you're a police officer or you're a citizen. If you don't do right, you have to be held accountable. Especially when somebody loses their life tragically.
Ben, did you see was it just one body camera video, or did you see 5 body camera videos? And was it just police body camera video, or was it police body camera videos and surveillance video? Can you tell us how many videos?
All we know there were videos. We saw multiple videos. That's what we are allowed to say. Okay. Yes, ma'am, beside you, and then we'll come here and review.
The footage that you saw, does it show all 5 officers participating in the beating?
It showed multiple officers participating and doing things that we felt were clearly excessive, and apparently so did the police department here in Memphis. Yes, ma'am.
I think the $1 million question is, how did you feel when you seen the video and recognized that they were not white officers?
You know, as I said on previous occasions, it doesn't matter if the hand who pulled the trigger who killed your son was a black hand or a white hand, the pain is still the same.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. The pain is still the same. And that's why we're here. You know, Reverend Al talks to the family and he talks about people have this misnomer that we are anti-white cops. No, we're anti-bad cops. Yes, ma'am.
You've talked in the past about the importance of video. Can you speak specifically to this case, comparing the original police narrative to what you saw on the video today?
So I don't know what the original police narrative was.
The original police narrative was that my son was pulled over for a DUI. We were told that all of this occurred right there at Boston Rams. We did not know that it occurred 3 houses from our house. So the more investigation and the more videos or stuff that was showing up, we found out that it was not at Boston Rams. So to me, it was a cover-up from the start.
Yeah.
You know, they were trying to cover their tail from the start. We thought that it occurred in the field right across from Boston Ranch. It's an open field right there. And that was the first thing that we saw on the news. But it didn't. So, and then, like I said, they was talking about my son ran, which he did. But he ran for his life. He didn't run for any other reason.
Were the police officers all in uniform, or were they?
Yeah.
How important is video in this particular?
Now, video in every case, but in particular in this case, was critical. Was critical because you had to see the step-by-step, the blow-by-blow. Tyree didn't run initially. I mean, but when you are engaged in such a
excessive manner, it's like his father said, man, are they gonna kill me? And you know, you see the escalation in him to some degree when you're watching this video, and it's kind of surreal because we keep thinking that, hold on, somebody's gonna de-escalate this situation, but it doesn't happen, and you literally can't believe the escalation here. And that's what we see when we talk about video. It's so important because I just think the way they interact with white citizens and how they interact with black citizens is night and day. Yes. It doesn't matter who the police is, it's night and day. We keep looking for videos of them using this kind of excessive force against white citizens. You just don't see it in America. Not unarmed citizens for a simple traffic stop having this kind of brutality. You don't see it. And so that video was critical. Before we get to this question, Attorney Robert knew she wanted to say something to one of the figures.
Thank you, and actually I picked up on your question, sir. Your question was, were all the officers in uniform?
And also, so I'm trying to get a sense of what it looked like from your perspective. Were they in uniform? Did you see patrol cars? You said they were unmarked vehicles. Did you see those in the video? Any sense of what that looked like?
Sure. What I can tell you is this. There is no doubt, zero doubt, that all these officers were in their Memphis blues. Okay? They were in their patrol cars. Some were unmarked. Lights were flashing. So what that tells us is all these officers were under color of law. They were in the scope of their duties when really what we saw was an intentionality, an unnecessary intentionality of violence and cruelty against somebody who was defenseless. And if we didn't say it before, this is what we saw on the video that we can tell you. He was kicked. There were multiple uses of force used against him. Multiple uses of force. That's
Did the
what it
officer
counts.
say anything? Did you hear anything that the officer said was wrong?
They said a lot, and they want us to let them finish the investigation.
Have you heard at all from the federal investigators, TBI, that they're supposed to leave the record?
We've only met with them.
Question, was Tyree handcuffed?
For withholding the video for 1 to 2 weeks?
Was Tyree Nichols?
The family made the decision that they wanted to make sure they got justice, so they said let them do what they needed to do to get everything appropriate, so there would be no technicalities why people would not be held accountable. Because what this family wants is what every citizen is entitled to, and that's full justice, not just civil accountability, but you want criminal culpability too. And so that's why the family made the decision to let them have the time to, not much time, because when you got video, it shouldn't take that long. You know, so thank you for that question. We'll take a few more.
I have a question, two parts. First, in that video, did you at all see if Tyre Nichols was handcuffed? And also, could you also hear or probably see witnesses in that video on scene?
Say it again, please.
So I want to know, at all, did you see Tyre Nichols handcuffed when he was getting beaten? And I also want to know if you guys saw or heard witnesses on the scene of that video.
Did we see what?
Witnesses. Do you know if he was tased? Do you know if he was handcuffed?
Well,
Do you know
we know he was tased, we know he was pepper sprayed, and we know he was restrained. And so when Attorney Robert says he was defenseless, you saw him being restrained.
How was he restrained?
For the sake of the investigation, we said we were only going to be limited in what we say.
Mr. and
Do we
Mrs.
know an
Wells,
official cause
I'm
of
sorry
death
for
yet?
your...
Do we know an official cause of death yet?
No official cause of death, but we have a pathologist, Dr. Wilson, who also participated in the independent autopsy of George Floyd from the University of Michigan. conducting an independent autopsy on behalf of Tyree's family. And when she gets those results, we will try to share with you preliminary results as soon as we can.
Mr. and Mrs. Wells, I'm sorry.
There's a video of one of the officers in a sweatsuit, in a hoodie. What do they do with their clothes? I know they had to have blood on them from her son. What do they do with their clothes?
We don't know the answer to that. Hopefully, like any investigation, all the evidence should have been collected.
Mr. and Mrs. Wells.
There's a lady.
I'd like to know who trained these officers. I'd like us to look higher up. It's really easy to say these 5 people did this. But this is a bigger thing. So who trained them?
You know, I'm going to let my co-counsel, Attorney Ramanucci, talk about that because that's going to be a big part of the civil lawsuit.
I just want to speak to you about what you said about the video being released. Because, you know, they supposed to already done been released. Valerie Calhoun had already questioned Mayor Strickland and called him in a lie about the video. It's supposed to be been released this week. So could you give us any concrete evidence for sure what you said that it's going to be released this week?
Yeah, well, they said 1 week, no more than 2 weeks. They promised the family that. The family said they would give them that time if they made sure they did a thorough investigation where they would be held accountable. So the family wants justice. They don't want them to come up with some technicality that they did something wrong. So that was the family allowing them to have 1 to 2 more weeks. Now, they don't have it in 2 weeks, brother. Yeah. Y'all do what y'all gotta do.
Mr. and Mrs. Wells.
We're gonna have Attorney Ramanucci just speak to her question, then we're gonna take one last one.
There is no doubt that most of the problem in policing in America that we see, why we even have to stand up here and talk about this, is not only because of the lack of training, but it's the continuity of training. And when bad training takes place, it's the deprogramming that's required in order to retrain and get better at what you do. So I will tell you, folks, our lawsuit will be wide in scope. It will be specific, but it's going to try and cover everything that we will uncover, peeling back these onion layers here to ensure that this family has justice.
All right, last question. Mr. and Mrs. Wells, I'm so sorry for your loss. After seeing the video, after seeing what happened to your son, how are you able to have strength and composure to continue this fight?
Because we have to fight for justice and have to stay strong for my family. As horrific as those tapes were, we still have to stay strong. We can't fold and be weak. We have to be strong. We have to fight for justice. And as they said, justice for Tyree. That's what we need. We don't need to be weak right now. We can't afford to be. We have to fight for justice. Of course I do.
We have Bishop Thomas stand us in a word of prayer. Bishop Thomas,
let us bow our heads. And our prayer is simply go in peace, but be restless in your peace until justice comes for Tyree